Welcome to Make Up Your Mind. I'm Amberp, makeup artist and IFBB Bikini Pro. I wanted to create a safe space for women to have deep conversations about life and mindset. So come hang out with me while I get ready for the day and chat about whatever is on my mind. What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Make Up Your Mind. How you doing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically? For today, in honor of my 35th birthday on October 18th, I wanted to share 35 things I've learned in 35 years. Let's get into it. You already know I got my notes, so if I'm looking down, that is why. Number 1, don't say never. This past year has humbled me to a crazy extent. It's so easy to speak on situations when you're not in them or when you have not lived a little bit of life. Like I was speaking to Danielle. She is just someone that I absolutely love and adore. She was my client. She's a friend. She's a mentor. She's a sister in Christ. And we were speaking last night. She said, you know, sometimes you just get to a point in your life where you start having grown folk challenges and you need to surround yourself with strong Christian grown folks. And don't say never. It's easy to say what you won't do when you're not in a situation until that situation is presented to you. And if you have gone through it, then you can speak on it. But I am someone who does not speak on things if I don't have any experience with it, but I would be sitting here lying if I didn't say, oh yeah, well, I would never do that, or if I was in that situation. Don't say never, because you don't know until you're in the situation. And it's real easy to pass judgment. It's really easy to pass judgment on something from the outside looking in, because you're not in it. You don't know. You can't say. Number 2, it's okay to reinvent yourself. This is something that I am currently going through right now. And when I say reinvent yourself, it can just be evolution. It could be growth. It could be breaking up with your old self. This is something that I've been going through for over a year now, just breaking up with my old self, letting go of what things once were. And especially now when I feel like I'm in a position where I can just feel the force, I can feel the shift, and it's out of my control. And the best thing for me to do is to lean into it, because when you become resistant to it, that's when things get dicey. That's when you'll start experiencing spiritual warfare. So when you need to make adjustments, when you need to make changes, if you have to start all over from scratch, I am someone who is never afraid to, first of all, try something. And I'm also not afraid to start all over from scratch. So if you have to reinvent yourself, if you have to start all over, it's okay. Just go with it. Go with the flow and lean on understanding that it's not your will, it's God's will, and you have to be in the groove of what He wants for you. Number 3, this was one that I had to really come to terms with myself. It's okay to not be okay. We are humans. We are all flawed. None of us are perfect. We go through life challenges. Life is just hard, period. And there are going to be those moments when you are not okay. And something that I tend to do is I will be walking around not okay and nobody will know, because I'm really great at just putting up a front, or, you know, just performing, just keep pushing through, because I've been designed to just operate in survival mode for so much in my life, to the point when there are things drastically wrong, I'm able to power through. However, on the other half of that, I don't deal with my emotions right then and there. And so what happens is everything starts to pile up over time. And then one little thing happens and boom, you pop. And instead, like something that I do now, if I feel a way, if I feel upset, if I feel sad, if I'm angry, or if I need to cry, I allow myself to feel that emotion, because it's better to go ahead and deal with it now versus not addressing it and then it comes back at you later on. I used to say this thing all the time. Go ahead and sit yourself down, because if your problems sit you down, then you're going to be navigating a whole nother situation. So if you're not okay, That's all right. You can express that you're not okay and still function throughout the day and still get what you need to get done, because you realizing that you're not okay, that's a powerful thing, and it makes you stronger and not weak. For me, I thought that it was just pride and ego, you know, and I thought I had to constantly always hold together. You got to be strong, because y'all know, first of all, just being a Black woman in America, that alone within itself is just something. And, you know, we're already looked at as, you know, headstrong or confrontational or, you know, just bitchy sometimes, and that's not what it is at all. It's unfortunate that if you're a Black woman, sometimes you can be taken as combative or assertive, whereas a man can be those things and it makes him strong, you know? So it's okay not to be okay. If you're not okay, take a moment, take a step back, and it's more than fine to express that, hey, I'm not okay right now. However, I'm still gonna get my ish done. I'm still gonna show up. 4, timing is everything. There are so many things that I want to do, so many projects, so many thoughts and ideas, and I understanding that I need to first of all take a step back. I need to pray, I need to bring it to God, but also understand that just because something isn't a good idea right now doesn't mean that it's just simply not a good idea. Sometimes other things in the background need to happen first before you can even get to that idea or whatever it is that you want to do. So don't be discouraged if there's something that you want to do, or you're seeking after something, or you're grinding towards something and it's not happening for you right now. It could be that maybe it's just not the time. Timing is everything, because God's time is always going to be better than our time. And I saw the funniest meme the other day, and it said, I know God's timing is right and is better than mine, but he be cutting it short sometimes. And when I saw that, I fell to the floor, because that's how I be feeling. I'm like, yo, Big Sandals, I know your time is better than my time, but baby, when I tell you, it feel like you be coming through at the 11th hour sometimes. However, he comes through. And it's not when we want, it's when he sees fit, because at the end of the day, we don't know nothing. We just out here living, trying to figure it out. He knows. So timing is everything. I talked about this on another episode. Your hobbies, passion, they don't have to be a business. They do not. It is okay to just do something for the love of it. That's where I'm at with my artistry. I've talked about this several times already, where especially now, it was honestly revealed to me this past weekend when I was working in Arizona. The reason why God did not want me to just push artistry or make artistry the full front of my business was just simply because, first of all, I'm one human and there's only so much I can do. But secondly, he wants me to take my artistry and my makeup and turn it into a makeup ministry. And in order for me to do that, I need to keep it small. You know, I'm not going to be like, whenever I have my athletes that I'm glamming, I'm only focusing on them. And so if it gets to a point to where it's too many athletes, then I won't have the capacity to, first of all, get the job done from an artistry standpoint, but also I understand that those are the women that I'm supposed to pour into. So therefore, I now see the greater purpose. I now see the why behind. Yes, still do makeup artistry, you know, still take on jobs, but just understand that the artistry is just the gateway in. The makeup ministry is what the big part of the big thing is. So therefore, if I've got 12 girls, I don't have time to pour into them the way that God needs me or wants me to do. So therefore, understanding that this one part of my business that I thought was going to be the mega bread and butter, it's not. That's my passion. That's my hobby. And so I'm just grateful that God is allowing me to still do that, but also understanding that there's something bigger and there's another piece of it that goes along with it. So just because you love doing something, it doesn't mean that it needs to be this big grandiose business. In fact, my God, 9 times out of 10, that thing that you love, don't turn it into a business, because then it's going to turn into a job. It's going to turn into a career. It's going to add stress. And that happens a lot sometimes with people where, let's say they love painting, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm going to start painting portraits as my business. And then it can kind of, first of all, stunt your creativity, and you can also start to just not enjoy it, because now you have to perform versus performing when you feel like it, if it makes any sense. The best businesses, and because I've been taking a lot of business classes here recently, the best businesses are, I was seeing what my neighbor was doing, sorry. The best businesses are the ones that you don't think are a cool idea, because what's cool to you 9 times out of 10 isn't a good business protocol. A good business is a business that's going to solve a problem for a lot of people. So, number 6, you're not always going to be happy. I am someone who is a motivator, who is a cheerleader. I love to help people. I love to be of service. I love to inspire people. But something that I've also learned on the flip side of that, while yes, that's my gift, yes, that's what God wants me to do, there are times when I'm trying to do those things and I'm not being real with myself in the moment because I'm not happy. It's unrealistic to be happy every single day. Like I stated already, life is hard. There's always things that's being thrown at us, and you might just be having an off moment, or you might just be having an off day. Like, that's something that I have to explain to my family. I understand they're used to me being a certain way, but I've gone through a lot this past year, and so they've seen me down. This is probably the most they've ever seen me down, and so I can understand how from the outside looking in, that's daunting and it's jarring, but I just had to say to them, hey, I'm just not happy right now. This is just a moment in time. I understand you're used to me being and operating in a specific way. However, right now, I don't have the capacity to operate in that way. So therefore, I need for you to take care of you. I need for you to handle you, because I got to focus on me and get myself together, because I am not happy right now. And my happiness and my peace is going to be far more important than anything on the face of this earth. So understand that. And then also, it's just a moment. You know what I mean? Like, don't let that moment turn into weeks, months, years, you know? It's okay that you're not happy, but you can't let that just dictate the rest of your life. This was a hard pill for me to swallow. Just because you work hard, it doesn't guarantee success. It just doesn't. And as harsh as that can sound and as painful as it can feel, that is the truth. The most successful people, they tend to not work as hard as people who aren't successful, because they have just, and I'm not saying that they haven't worked hard at all, they have, but they have worked and put in so much time to the point now where they are at this place where they can work smarter, not harder. And that's a mindset shift that I've had to make as well, just really looking at everything. And I feel that for the most part, in everything that I do, and I'm talking everything that I do is with an intention. Everything is intentional. Even like small, tiny, minute things to, like, while I'm working, where I will place a specific brush. To someone else, they're like, oh, whatever, she just put the brush down. But I put this specific brush down right here simply because it's right in front of maybe this eyeshadow. And I know I'm going to need to come back to that eyeshadow with this brush. So let me put this brush right here next to the eyeshadow. So that way it's exactly where I need it when I'm ready for it. Like, down to that. And I think a lot of that too is just having a sensitive spirit, you know, like sometimes if I'm out and about, or if I'm at a grocery store, or maybe if I see someone didn't put a card away, I'll go put it away, because it's an intentional thing. But I'm also understanding with being intentional, when I'm intentional about things, it also allows God to speak to me and kind of guide me on a whole nother level. So everything that I do is with intention, but also understanding that just because I am working hard or staying, you guys, let me tell you something. I used to stay up late. I'm talking late, working from sun up to sundown, and I was working hard. I'm talking like I was the epitome of hustle to the T. And then finally I realized, okay, I'm doing all this work, right? I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm not getting any sleep. Like, this was the time when I was in beauty school, I was working 2 jobs, I was doing my YouTube channel, I'm drinking, what is those little 6-hour energy drinks to stay up? Like, how horrible is that? And I did all of that, and did it help me? Okay, a little bit, but was it worth it? Did it push the needle forward faster. No, it didn't. It didn't. So now I have everything structured down to a science, to the point of where I understand work smarter, not harder, and maintain my intention in adding value upon things, because I know when I'm being intentional and I'm adding value, God's going to be able to drop other gems on me in other ways that I can just help and be of service to others. So, number 8, scarcity mindset gets you nowhere. This is one that I still wrestle with from time to time. You guys know I come from very humble beginnings. I was not born with a silver spoon. I was raised by a single mother. And when you are raised in specific situations, you don't realize that it automatically makes you adopt a scarcity mindset. And so for me, I know a lot of my money challenges are just, they all start here, you know, because I'm grinding, trying to make money, you know, and then once I get the money, I'm scared to spend the money because I don't want to be broke, but then something happens, and so I have to utilize that money for something else, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh, now I'm right back to zero, so to speak. And understanding that, hold on, this scarcity mindset is a block. This is why you're not able to achieve those financial milestones, because you have a scarcity mindset. And if you have a scarcity mindset with anything in your life, whether it be relationships, finances, whatever the case may be, you are not going to be able to move forward. So a scarcity mindset gets you nowhere. Number 9, there is no prize in struggle. The harder you struggle or the more you struggle doesn't mean that you're working harder. It doesn't mean that you're worth more. It doesn't mean that your story is better. It absolutely, it means nothing. It just means that, okay, you struggling, because at the end of the day, like, everyone has a struggle, you know, like, well, take multimillionaires. People assume that, oh, they're great. Their lives are great because they have so much money and financial freedom. But if you really listen in or pay attention, a lot of them don't have a healthy mindset. There's other areas. So there's no prize in struggling. Don't utilize your struggle as a way to make you feel like you're more deserving of something just because you've had more of a struggle. I see that a lot. That was something that I would see a lot with Murillo, because him and his older sister had a totally different life than his younger siblings, right? So him and his younger sister, they came to the States. They're first generation. So they've seen things. They're coming from a third world country. They just have a different mindset. And so I would find he would get really frustrated with his younger siblings. And I just had to remind him, I was like, hey, they have a different life than what you and your older sister had, you know? So you can't fault them, because at the end of the day, they don't know what they don't know. But also keep in mind that just because you came from struggle or you have this struggle, it doesn't make you any quote unquote better. It does add character for sure, but just because you've had this massive struggle, it doesn't mean that it's going to provide a prize, or that they quote unquote aren't worthy of good things. And that's not, he did not say that, but that's just the way that I broke it down and explained to him, because, you know, your mom did what she could. She did her best. And thankfully she was able to keep working and grinding. And now she's just successful. She owns 2 businesses. She's killing the game. And so, of course, if she had the resources to provide for you and your older sister in this way, she absolutely would, but she wasn't able to. However, she has come back around and she does so much for all of us in general. So just understanding that, yes, we all have struggles. Yes, some of us come from more struggle than other, but just because you had come from struggle, it doesn't mean that there's a prize. There's no prize in struggle, you guys. Like, there's this one girl that I used to work with in salon, and I swear, like, I looked at her one day and I was like, bro, your house is always on fire. How are you constantly always in a crisis? She just always constantly kept something going. And it was because she has lived life that way for so long in chaos and turmoil that it is foreign to her to have peace, to have nothing going on. For her, it is more comfortable, and she finds a prize in just operating like that versus finding peace. So don't be a slave to your struggle. Number 10, wanting to be wealthy does not make you a bad person. Now, this goes back to, again, the struggle. When you grow up with little struggle. I'm sure you've all heard it. Money is the root of all evil. People like to take that and flip it and turn it into something that it's not. You really think that God wants us to struggle? Do you really think that God wants us to have lack? God doesn't work that way. God wants us to have plenty. God wants us to have abundance. God wants us to have all the things so he can bless us tenfold. So to think that being wealthy makes you a bad person, no, like abundance is all throughout the Bible. I mean, open it up, you're going to be able to find it multiple times. So it's very asinine to think that because you want to be wealthy, that makes you a bad person. It's all about your intention with the wealth. Like for me, I want wealth for financial freedom, so that way I don't have to stress about bills, and also so that way I can help others in need. That's why I want that. It's now it becomes tricky, and let me take a step back. It becomes bad when you are wanting money for other reasons that aren't good in God's eyes. And if you were idolizing and worshiping the money, that's when it becomes a problem. But wanting to be wealthy, this is something that I had to tell myself, because I used to believe that, oh, people with the money are evil, they're bad. No, they're not. They're not. That again was just part of the scarcity mindset and not understanding. Just because something isn't for you doesn't mean it's bad. I say that a lot here, especially just in regards to products, makeup products, right? A lot of people will say that, oh, this product is bad because maybe it wasn't their preference, or maybe because it didn't work for them. If you are a dry skin girly and you are using a foundation that is matte, I'm talking like Kat Von D OG Lock-It matte, you're not going to like it. You know why? Not because it's a bad foundation, it's just not a good fit for you. And this is where just, my God, emotional intelligence clocks in. You have to be wise enough to understand that, okay, just because X, Y, and Z didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. And that's why you also have to be mindful of, well, this is just going to be part 2 of this one. You have to be mindful of who you present your thoughts and ideas to, because all your thoughts and ideas ain't for everyone's ears. And sometimes what can happen is if you share those thoughts and ideas with someone, they will project their own feelings from whatever past horrible experience they had onto you. They might say, oh, well, I don't think that's a good idea because when I did, or they might just not think it's a good idea because of their own past or their own trauma. So therefore you have to be mindful of that, sharing all your thoughts and ideas with certain people, because they can damage and water down what it is that you're supposed to do. This is something that I have learned the hard way, and now I am very sensitive to my thoughts, my ideas, or projects. Like there's a couple of projects that I am working on and literally no one but Murillo knows, and that is for that specific reason, because I don't need any additional noise in my head. And especially where I am right now, I've just really been struggling with making decisions and trusting and standing on my decisions, and I've never experienced that before. I'm always someone, even if it wasn't a good decision and I couldn't see it then, who was able to make a decision, stand firm in it, and ride in it. So I understand now, in order for me to get my strength back up and trusting my own decisions, I need to keep things to myself and just go along with it, stand firm in it, and block the noise. So just because something's not for that person doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it's just not for them. 12. Not everyone's going to understand you, and that's okay. That's okay. It is unrealistic to think that everybody is going to understand you, and just it's human nature to want to be accepted. When people say, oh, well, I don't want to be accepted, I don't care. Yeah, you do care. You probably don't care if the masses accept you or understand you, but the people that are close to you and the ones that you love, you care, and you're supposed to. That's okay. But you have to understand that not everyone's going to understand you. And sometimes the people that don't understand you the most can be your family members, your loved ones, your friends. And that can be a very difficult thing to navigate. But just because they don't understand you doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong, which is going to take us to number 13. It is not your duty to make people understand you. It's not. Like I said, God has placed a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, a lot of things in my head, and they are wild and grandiose, 100%. However, I don't share those things because it's not my duty to make people understand them, because I don't care what anybody says here on this earth. If God has placed something on your heart, it's for you, and you don't need to explain nothing to nobody. Like, the people that get it, and the people that don't. That's okay. Don't waste your good energy on trying to explain something to people who just simply aren't going to understand. It's a waste of time. 14. I still wrestle with this. Resting does not make you lazy. I have a hard time resting. I had to admit to myself a couple of weeks ago that I am very much so tired that I never recovered from my burnout last year, 2022, and it's catching up with me again. And I'm also learning a trend with myself where I'm good. I go, and then right around September, October, that's when I start to give out. That's when I start to fizzle out, because I've been hitting it hard and grinding for 9 months. And then once September, October comes, your girl is spent. I'm done. I'm exhausted. So now I understand next year I have to put things in place so that way I can get that rest period in. So I understand this new phase that Murillo and I are getting ready to enter. Like, hustling is just for a season. In my devotional, that I read, you trust, you hustle, and you rest. I was just hustling. No trust, no rest. That's not sustainable. You can't keep that up. But when you have your trust in God, you're hustling, and then you rest. That resting period is important because you have to recharge. You know, you have to recover. And these are things that I know just from being a professional bodybuilder. I know this. I understand that I can't just bang it out in the gym. Go. You have to have a rest day. So why is it that in my everyday life, I'm not operating the same? Make it make sense, right? So something that I'm going to be working on, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of it now before 2024 comes. Okay, January, we're going to go ahead and implement some resting in January, some resting in February. March, we go. March, April, May, June, we go. July, take a step back, rest. August, take a step back, rest. September, October, November, go all the way. You know what I mean? So just making sure that you're setting yourself up so that you don't burn yourself out. And the reason why I am burnt out is because I did not allow myself to rest, because I felt that I had to keep going. If I'm not doing this, I'm not going to get ahead. That is not the truth. I used to post YouTube videos 3 times a week, thinking that was going to push and get me ahead. And while, yeah, I'm sure it helped a little bit, it wasn't a significant enough push, because I noticed if I just post once a week, because right now that's about all I can do. If I can do 2 videos a week, I will, but I tested it out. When I posted once a week, there was not much difference in my views. So work smarter, not harder, and most importantly, you can't work if you don't get adequate rest. 15, it's okay to try and fail. I have tried multiple things and I have failed multiple times. And because of it, it has made me scared of failure. And it's not the failure that I'm afraid of, it's the feeling that comes along with the failure. So now I understand, okay, you don't like how it makes you feel. You don't like that part of it. So what if I just change my mindset around it? Understanding that, okay, I'm going to try this thing. 2 things are going to happen. It's either going to succeed or it's going to fail. Either one of those things is fine. Failure is not bad, because you don't know if something's going to work until you try. So if the reason why you're not trying things is because you're afraid of failure, guess what? Not trying is worse than failing. At least if you try and it doesn't work, you know, okay, well, hold on, maybe I should reassess and do it this way. Or maybe it's, aha, this was great market research. I now know that if I go about this in that way, it's not going to work out for me. So let me see, go back to the drawing board, try it this way, give it a fair try. And then if it's still not working, let it go. It's okay. It's okay if you try and you fail, because honestly, you're not going to be able to accomplish anything if you do not try. Yes, it's risky. Yes, yes, you could potentially fail. However, there is beauty in failure because it builds character. It makes you resilient. It gives you grit. Try. Don't worry about failing. In fact, how can you be so worried about failure when you haven't even put in the work to try yet? 16. If you aren't doing things that are in alignment with God and yourself, it will be a struggle. It will. You will be at spiritual warfare. I have experienced this, and no bueno. It's not fun. And this, in order to understand this, you have to have a specific sense of awareness and also maturity about yourself. You have to be very logical as well. A lot of people are functioning and doing things that are not in alignment with themselves, aren't in alignment with God. And the tricky part about that is they could be going well. So therefore, it's really hard to tell that it's not in alignment with you. What I like to do is take a step back and I question myself. Is this operating in my purpose? Whenever I'm confused, I always go back to my purpose. And that's the hard part. A lot of people don't know what their purpose is. And that is something that I'm very interested in trying to figure out, how I can help people figure out their purpose. Because when you know your purpose, everything makes sense. Even with me knowing my purpose, I can say 98% of the times things make sense, but I'm human. The flesh is weak. I be questioning things. I be questioning big sandals. But whenever I'm confused, I go back to, is this in alignment with my purpose? Because that will automatically tell me if it's something I need to continue doing or if I need to full stop. So ask yourself, is this in alignment with my purpose? Because if it's not in alignment with your purpose, 9 times out of 10, you don't need to be doing it. 17, it ain't your duty to save people. You are not Captain Save-A-Ho. You are not. You are not. You are not. You are not. You can only do what you can do. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. And something that I used to do whenever someone would ask me for help with something, especially if it was something within my scope of what I know, I'm like full throttle, 100% in, ready to do whatever it takes to help them. I'm, putting in all the energy and all the hard work. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, wait a minute now. You asked me for help. I'm over here more hyped about it than you. I'm over here more excited about it than you. I'm over here giving it more energy than you, and it's not even my thing. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. When I realized that was something that I was doing on a regular basis, I said, nah, because I'm frustrated. I'm walking around frustrated at you. Meanwhile, you not frustrated with you. No, not my duty to save you. I can drop in, plant the seed, and what you choose to do with it after that, that's on you. But I can't help someone or save someone who has zero interest in saving themselves. 18. This is tough. Sometimes the most toxic people can be your family members, loved ones, etc. Just because someone's your blood, it don't mean you have to interact with them, especially if it is disturbing your peace, especially if it is messing with your mental and emotional well-being. I don't care if that person is your blood. I don't care if that person is your parental. If they are causing you emotional distress, separate. Do not entertain them and do not give them any of your energy, because you have to lay down with you. The whole, oh, that's family. That's some OG, old school Southern mindset. I know, because I'm from the South, and that's something that I would hear all the time. Oh, well, so-and-so's family. Okay, great. So-and-so's getting on my nerves as well. So because they're family, I'm supposed to put myself out there in the ring of fire, so to speak, and allow them to dump all their toxic energy on me and F up my whole mood? I think not. I think not. So if a family member, especially with the holidays coming around the corner, I made a video about this last year, just talking about how to navigate the holidays with family members and how people feel it's appropriate to speak on your looks, your weight, your hair, whatever the case may be. You don't have to be around those people if you don't want to. I'm the first one to tell you that, and I'm the first person to support that, because I don't care who you are, mom, dad, cat, dog, whatever the case may be. If you have got me to a place to where my blood is boiling, my spirit's feeling a certain way, I'm uncomfortable, I'm upset, you just bringing toxic energy, I ain't dealing with you. And I don't have to give you an explanation as to why. It's just, yo, chunk up the deuces, let me love you from a distance, be blessed in the Lord. That's all I can do. 19. This one is a good one, because I feel like us as women, we're just naturally nurturers, right? And we always want receipts. We always want the proof. If something does not feel right to you, it's because it's not right. You don't need a receipt. You don't need an explanation. You don't need proof. You don't need nothing. The gut feeling that you have, that be the Holy Spirit talking to you. That is your discernment. And there have been so many times where I've been in situations, somewhere, something, and I was like, something feels off. But because I didn't have the tangible receipt or the proof, I went on and later on found out, oof, okay, I should have listened to how I was feeling. You don't need, in fact, don't wait around for the proof. Don't wait around for the receipt. Just that feeling in your gut is enough to let you know right there, something ain't right. I got to go. 20. It's okay to set boundaries. And it's okay to say no. The power of no. I got this one down. It took years. I'm talking years, because I used to be a people pleaser for sure. And that's why I'm great in the service industry. I like to people please, like to help people, you know, but not at the expense of my mental health. No, ma'am. It's okay to say no. Stop saying yes to things that you know you don't want to do or that you are not interested in, because what will happen is you're going to dread it. You're going to dread it before it gets there. You're going to dread getting ready for it. You're going to dread being in the thick of it and going through the process. Why? Why are you lying to yourself? I've been saying this for quite some time now. If you can't be real with yourself, you can't be real with nobody else. That is a fact. You saying yes to something that you don't want to do, you're lying to yourself. And if you're going to lie to yourself, I can't trust you. I just can't. You have to be real with yourself. It's okay to say no. Set that boundary. And even if it's your loved ones or your significant other, a really good friend and mom, whatever the case may be, if the answer is no, the answer is no, that part. And then it goes back to, you don't have to explain. It's just like, hey, you know what? Nope, not right now. That doesn't work for me. And keep it pushing. And don't say sorry either. There's no need to follow up your no and setting your boundary with the sorry. And the thing is, you will truly know where you stand with that person if you have to lay down a boundary. And if they get mad, oh, you acting funny, oh, you changing, that right there lets you know where you stand with them. Because someone who truly loves you, they're gonna honor your boundary. They're not gonna make you feel a way about it. 21. Success is relative. I am successful. Here's why. 10 years ago, maybe even, well, hold on, 12 years ago now, geez, when I was in beauty school, I had one goal. That one goal was to travel and do makeup. I have been doing that. And it just clicked with me just then in September. I had a moment of just reflection and gratitude, and it was just a full stop moment where, and I think you guys caught, yeah, it was in the vlog. It was in the vlog as well. And it was just like all these feelings and emotions and revelation, aha moment where I realized I am living my dream. I am doing exactly what it was that I wanted to do. And that right there makes me successful. We tend to put success, like we have it as benchmarkers, right? Where you're only successful if you have this much amount of money. You're only successful if you have this amount of followers. You're only successful if you have these things. Notice to what I'm saying. All of that stuff is materials, money, cars, subscribers, followers, whatever the case may be. That's all material things. Success is relative. What success for me might not be success for you. Success for some athletes is stepping on stage for the first time. Success for some athletes is getting their pro card. Success for some people is not having their bank accounts in the red. That is a successful thing for some people. So we have to also stop judging people and where they are within their success with our own views for success, because you don't know that person. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what it took for them to get to this very moment. Success for some people in the morning is them choosing to get up and start the day. That is success for some people. There are people that are out here that are truly struggling with anxiety and depression, and the fact that they choose to get up, wash their face, brush their teeth, put their clothes on, and try again, that is success. And I'm getting teary-eyed because that is something that I am very passionate about, because I just speak to so many people on a regular basis, and there are so many women out here that are going through things. And so it just really changed my perspective as far as how I view success. Success is relative, and don't let anyone dictate what success should be for you. 22, you're worthy. I've spoken about my worthiness journey. I started in 2021, and I still wrestle with worthiness today. I have not arrived. I think that's going to be a challenge that I always have. However, just know you are worthy. Doesn't matter what you've done. God don't care. Like, oh, well, I'm a bad person. I did X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, did you pray? Did you repent? Because if you did those things, you're good. You good. You know, you are worthy. No matter where you come from, what your race is, your gender. It doesn't matter if you grew up in the hood. It doesn't matter if you grew up in the slums, in a trailer park. It doesn't matter if you've had maybe a failed relationship. None of that stuff matters. You are worthy, period. Number 23, sometimes things don't work out, and that is okay. It is okay. It's life. It is unrealistic to think that everything is always going to work out. What you have to do is adopt a healthy mindset around it. You have to, first of all, be realistic and logical, because I feel that is what gets people in a pickle, so to speak. They are not realistic about the situation. They might have a goal. I'll use bodybuilding, perhaps, because that's always the easy analogy. So your goal is to get your pro card. Cool. You're saying that's what you want. However, are your actions in alignment with it? Because if you're saying one thing and your actions are in alignment with what you're saying, you're not being realistic. You gotta be realistic about where you are. It might be, hey, this is a goal. This is exactly what I want for myself. However, right now in my life, it might just not be the time for that. Because if you say that's the goal, you're just giving it not even 50%, maybe you're giving it 40%, and then you don't hit it, it doesn't work out, you're gonna be upset. But all of this could have been avoided if you were real with yourself. Even if you are real with yourself, you do all the things, right? And sometimes things just don't work out. I got a message for you. This is what I tell myself when things don't work out. Rejection is God's protection. Sometimes there are things on the other side that you can't see right then and there. There have been so many situations in my life where I was working towards something happened, it didn't work out, and I was so butthurt about it. And then later on, a couple of months, maybe even years down the road, I understand, oh, that's why that didn't work out. Had that had worked out, I would have been in a way worse situation. So find peace in knowing that if something doesn't work out, that's okay. There is better. God has another plan for you, and rejection is God's protection. So whenever something doesn't work out, it's like, all right, cool, I'm being protected. Let's keep it moving. 24. I say this a lot to people. I talk to a lot of athletes in bodybuilding, and when you are in prep and carbs get low, your serotonin ain't on point. Your mental, you start to go a little crazy because, I mean, we're starving ourselves for fun. I know it sounds crazy, and if you're not a bodybuilder and you're thinking it's crazy, it's because it is. 100%. I'm very well aware, and it's not for everybody. And because your food is low and your cardio is high and you're just an emotional wreck, and God forbid you be on your period during all of this, your emotions and things, we're not at homeostasis. Your hormones are thrown off. And I always have to remind the girls, I hear you. Your feelings are valid. Your feelings also aren't always facts. Number 24. Your feelings are not always facts. That's a hard one for a lot of people to wrap their heads around, because in the moment, it can definitely sound harsh and sting, but it's true. It's true. Think about some of those crazy, like whenever I'm not in a good place emotionally, and my mind starts to wander. One day I am going to be brave enough perhaps to read some of my journal entries, and you'll very well be able to see that, oh, you were not okay that day. Yeah, I wasn't okay that day, because in that moment I write those thoughts down, and then if I typically don't go back and read, but sometimes I do go back and read, and maybe it'll be like 2 months, a month later, I'll read it and I'm like, yo, you was bugging. You were out of your mind. Those feelings are not facts. They were just how I felt in that moment. So you have to be careful when you are trying to make big, large decisions and you're not in a good place emotionally, because what happens is a lot of people tend to operate in their emotions, and that'll get you in trouble. You cannot allow your emotions to outweigh your intelligence. That should have been its own number on its own, but all that's under 24. Your feelings are not always facts. Do not allow your emotions to outweigh your intelligence, because every single time you do that, it will end up crappy. 25. Some jobs, people, etc. are for a season. I've had to let go of some things that were very difficult for me. Still going back and forth, you know, like you guys, I'm still going back and forth with this whole, should I go back to the salon? Should I not? Am I hearing God properly? Everything that I've been going through, that I've been sharing with you guys, it's happening in real time. And I share these things because, first of all, I don't know, God has been prompted me to share. And I'm like, okay, cool, fine, whatever. I'm gonna obey, because the last time I didn't obey, life got real raggedy. But secondly, it's also to help you understand that, yo, you ain't alone. We're all out here trying to figure it out. And letting go of those things was not easy whatsoever, but also understand that sometimes you have to let things go or people go, because maybe it's for a season, or just maybe it goes back to timing. Not right now. Not right now. Sometimes you have to let things go, let people go, let something go, have some time in between for it to come back around. 26. Another battle I struggle with. Don't put your identity into your work. This is something that I did, and it caused a massive identity crisis. I put my worth, my value in my work, in being a hairstylist, in being a hair colorist. That was my identity. So when I stepped away from the salon, I had a full-blown identity crisis, and I didn't know that thing was coming. I didn't know that I was operating like that until it was pulled away, until I took a step back. And that ish was rough. It was rough. That is also why after I got my pro card, everyone kept saying, change your bio at IFBB Pro. The reason why I wasn't in a rush to do that was because I understood that I had some issues I had to sort out with myself in my mini identity crisis that I had, because I am not Amber, the hairstylist. I am not Amber, the makeup artist. I am not Amber, the YouTuber. I am not Amber, the IFBB Bikini Pro. I am simply Amber. That is enough. Those other things, they are a part of me, but they are not me. And I made being a hairstylist me. And I should have not done that. And I didn't realize, honestly, I didn't realize it. You don't know what you don't know, right? Do not put your identity in your work. Do not put your identity in your work ethic. Your value is not in those things. Your value is in here. It's within you. 27, screw society's timeline. Society be all up in women's business, all up in women's uterus. I can't tell you how many skulls I've had to crush because I'm about to be a 35-year woman and I don't have no kids. I ain't nobody's mama. Why are you so pressed and worried about my uterus? Why does it matter if I have children or not? You don't know. Maybe Marilla and I could have been trying this whole time. We could have been trying this whole time, and maybe it's just not happening. Maybe there are other things we would like to put in place before having a child. I get so frustrated with this when people say, oh, why don't you have kids? Or, oh, you're getting old, or just have a kid. I have such a clear understanding of what it's like and what it takes to be a mom through my best friend Lauren. My best friend Lauren had my goddaughter when she was 17 years old. My sweet goddaughter Mackenzie, who was now 17, was raised by 17-year-olds. So I understand it from that perspective. I understand it from being the product of a single mom. So when people tell me just have a kid, I get offended because children are not accessories. Being a mother is the hardest job that you will ever have in your entire life, because it is 365 days. It is around the clock. It is nonstop. Just because that kid turns 18, it doesn't mean that, oh, life gets easier. In fact, my mama told me when I was an adult, she worries more about me now as an adult than she did with me as a child, because as a child, she always knew where I was. She knew what was going on because I was under her. It was her duty to take care of me. She said, as an adult, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you're going. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't have no control over you because you're grown. And that makes so much sense. So I take being a mom very serious, and I don't understand why society puts these timelines on women specifically, where you gotta go to college by this time and you gotta get a man by this time, but you also gotta be married by this time, but you also need to buy a home by this time. You also need to have a baby by this time. If you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. If you don't want to get married, don't get married. If you don't want to have children, don't have children. If you don't want to do that 9-to-5 work hustle, don't do the 9-to-5. Be an entrepreneur. Do whatever you want, because we are all different. We are all made differently. God made us all unique, and it is unrealistic to think that every woman on the face of this earth is going to be rolling with the same timeline. Like, I am sick of it. I am sick of it. Oh, we're going to be an old mom. I'd rather be an old mommy with some money in the bank than being a young mom broke. I'm just saying, that's just where I'm at with it. I'm cool with it. But then also, it's fascinating to me because the people that say, oh, we're going to be an old mom, I'm thinking, first of all, I am way healthier than you when you had your baby at 20. And so now you're trying to tell me about my health? Let me see your blood work. How much water have you had? I guarantee all week long you probably had a shot of water. Get off me. Anywho, screw society and their timelines. Do your own thing, babe. 28. What's for you is for you, and nothing or no one can take it away from you or block you, okay? When something is truly for you, it don't matter what the outside forces, the universe, the enemy, none of that matters. None of that matters. When something is truly for you, baby, you can't be stopped. You can't. It's going to happen for you. So no matter if you're feeling like things are getting pressing, things are getting challenging, it's getting really hard, I don't know if this is going to work. Nah, because if it's for you, it's happening either way. Either way it's happening. It's going down. 29. You need to love your significant other with their love language, especially if they have a different love language than you. This was something that I dropped the ball on tremendously. My love language is acts of service. That is not Flo's love language whatsoever. I'll never forget one time, this was in our second place together. His closet was a wreck. I'm an organized human being. Unfortunately, my husband is not. It is what it is. And I went through his closet and I took everything out. I did all the laundry, organized it, hung everything up, color coded it. That man didn't give two shits about it. And when I tell you I was tight, I was like, yo, big dog, square up, because I feel disrespected. I remember having a conversation. I was like, you disrespected me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm wilding. I'm just irate because acts of service is my love language. If he or someone would have done that for me, I would have been so grateful. Just like, oh my goodness, you don't realize how much you've helped me. Thank you so much. Then I realized it's not that he don't care. That's just not his love language. His love language is touch. His love language is words of affirmation. I know that now. As soon as I figured that out, I cut all that other stuff out. Why am I going to continue to do these things and you don't care? It's not your love language. It don't hit with you, right? So now I know if I need to tap into him, if I need for him to hear me, if I need to make him feel good, I touch that man on his shoulder. I'll tell him something sweet, and all is well with the world. Everything is good. Pay attention to your significant other. I was paying attention to Merlot, but now that some time has passed and we done went through the ringer, I realized I was not paying attention to Merlot. I was not. I was being very headstrong. I was focusing on what I felt was right for him and not tuning into what he actually needed. Figure out what your significant other's love language is. Love them in that way. Vice versa. That's how you should operate, because I guarantee you, your relationship's going to be elevated. 30. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. This is so true. Be mindful of the words that you speak. Most importantly, be mindful of the words that you speak in regards to yourself. If you're telling yourself, I'm bad, I'm not good, I'm not worthy, I suck, I'm never going to get anywhere, guess what? You're putting negative words out there, okay? And when you put negative words out there, especially negative words about yourself, you're going to get negativity coming back to you. You don't understand how much power your tongue holds. You don't understand how much power there is in the words that you speak. And again, this goes back to me being very intentional. Even now, to everything that I speak, everything that comes into my mouth, it is with an intention. I don't just say stuff for shits and giggles. I don't. Especially not these days. Absolutely not. Be mindful of what you speak. If you're speaking negative, you're going to get negative in return. If you're speaking positive, you're going to get positive in return. And the thing is, and I'm not saying this being, what's the word that I'm looking for? I'm not saying this in an insensitive way, because I understand life is hard. There are challenges, but guess what? That's where it matters the most, because when I tell you the top of this year, baby, I had to pray through, I had to praise through, I had to shout through it, I had to pump myself up through it, because yeah, I didn't believe it, but I also understood that my words hold power, my words hold weight. So Yeah, I might be feeling a certain way right now. I might be feeling negative, but I can't allow negative to come out of my mouth, because if I'm feeling negative and then I allow negative to come out of my mouth, now it's double. Now there's no hope. Now we're really going to spiral and go down a dark path. So mindset shift. I understand I might feel this way, but I also understand that my feelings are not fact. I also understand that life and death are in the power of the tongue. I also understand that the words that I speak hold power. So therefore, I might be feeling crappy in this moment, but I'm not gonna let crap come out my mouth. And that's on period. 31, pray more, worry less. Again, not being insensitive. This is something that you have to do reps of. You have to do repetition of prayer, because something that I've noticed now, because I've been so on it, because I've been so on my prayer, so on my devotional, just so being still and listening, as soon as something happens, my first instinct, pray. I have been going through so much with my husband's health, not knowing what's going on with him. And I was so proud of myself as far as how I'm navigating and handling things, because as soon as everything started happening, my first thought, pray. As soon as I see he's down, I put my hands on him, I touch him and call him healed in Jesus' name. I pray. That lets me know that all the reps of me praying, of me doing my devotional, of me being still, all of those reps have worked, because now whenever I'm faced with a challenge, baby, I'm gonna bust out in a prayer in a minute. I do not care. I don't care who's around. I don't care who I'm with. If something ain't right, if there's a challenge, or if someone hits me up and say, hey, can you pray X, Y, and Z? I am on it. On it. You got to be sensitive to it, because again, you probably might not feel like it, especially if life is hard. You're going through the gigs. It's a massive challenge, right? You used to didn't know how to walk, right? How'd you learn how to walk? You had to do those reps. You had to get up, go a little, stumble. Get up, go a little, stumble. You practice. And then the more you did it, now you don't have to think about walking, right? You just get up and you walk. It's the same thing. Pray more, worry less. You have to start putting in those reps, because once you put those reps in and then some ish goes down, you locked and loaded. Pray, baby. Pray your way through. 32. It's okay to be good at multiple things. A lot of this stuff, all of this stuff, are things that I have facing, gone through, going through. I have put myself in a box, so therefore I felt like you can't do nothing but beauty. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. And that's not true. God has blessed me with being good at multiple things. God has blessed you with being good at multiple things. The fact that I am sitting here right now talking to you is wild, because if you would have told me in my younger years, like as a child, as a teenager, that I would be using my platform to motivate, to inspire, to create, I would have looked at you like you were crazy, because I was a very quiet, shy, quiet, reserved human being. So the fact that this is what I'm doing now, it's wild to me. But it's not me. God put this in me, and he put something in you as well. And 9 times out of 10, God has put multiple gifts in you. You just gotta tap in. Tap in, baby, and it's okay. Utilize all the gifts that you've been given, because it's a gift. And it wasn't put in you for no reason. It was put in you to be utilized to help others. So don't put yourself in a box. Don't feel like you can't try this. Don't feel like you can't do that. You can. You can. 33, do not lean on your own understanding. This is by far one of the most difficult things to do. Oh my gosh. Because life be lifing, ish don't be making sense. You trying to find a solution. You trying to figure it out. But do you know what else? Something else I've learned? God's not the author of confusion. So if I'm feeling confusion, I know that is a thought from the pits of hell. That's the enemy that's trying to get me down. And therefore, I need to not lean on my own understanding. I need to lean on God and keep it moving. Mind your business. Mind your business. Because it goes back to us always trying to make people understand. Some things aren't meant for us to understand in the moment. I I know that ain't a sexy answer. That's probably a hard one for some people to wrap their heads around, but it's true, because if maybe, God knows, if you fully understood, then you probably would be too freaked out and too scared to go full throttle. So maybe that's why he's only giving you little glimpses, or maybe that's why you don't understand at all. When you don't understand something at all, but you know you're supposed to do it, that's how you know something big is on the other side. 34, comparison is the thief of joy. This is a fact. The grass is not always greener. You do not know what is going on in someone's life based off of social media. I feel like we are all grown, and I also feel like we should all understand that. However, a lot of people do not understand that. I absolutely hate drama. I've been at shows plenty of times and people have just come to me with drama, and I'm just looking at them and they think I'm playing. I'm like, no, I legit do not know what you're talking about. I don't deal with it. So the thing is, just because you hear something or see something on social media, that doesn't mean that it's true or that it's real. Now you're comparing yourself to whatever it was that you have seen or heard, thinking that that thing is the real deal when it's not. You're comparing yourself to something that isn't even real. The girls on the magazine don't even like the girls on Instagram don't even really look like the girls on Instagram, you guys. Stop comparing yourself. You don't know what that person went through. You don't know what it took for them to get to where they're at. You don't know if what they're even presenting to you or showing you is even real. You don't know. Stop comparing. Comparing does not serve you. Comparing is a sure way to jack up your mental and emotional health. Mind your business. I am the president of Mind Your Business Ministries, LLC. And when I say that, I mean it. I don't know what be going on, and I like it that way because I have no time for stupidity. I can't do it. Number 35, wrapping this up. You are enough. You are enough. Right now, in this moment, how you are, as you are, it is enough. You don't need to do anything to try to change or mold you to be, no. You, how you were made, how God created you, how you look, how you walk, how you move, how you speak, that is enough. Period. I love y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on today's episode of Make Up Your Mind. 35 things I've learned before 35. I hope it was helpful. If you want to sound off in the comments with anything that you have learned, please share. I love having the conversation and the dialogue. I hope this was helpful. I hope maybe it set somebody free. I hope that maybe it inspired you. I hope that maybe it gave you a different perspective. All right, so keep it simple, cast one more net, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.